water.
Get the water. Otherwise, what was the point of me getting it?
Okay, you got your water. Hi, Rookes. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm very good. It's very nice. We were just saying, we feel like we've met each other in various places and guises over the years, but not in reality.
No, all the online platforms you can possibly think of.
Yeah.
Yes.
But here we are in the Green Note in Camden, in the gorgeous basement, which I've never been to before, which I didn't realise existed, and has a lovely little car, little piano over here as well.
Yep.
Great little spot. But
Adorable.
yeah,
With jars of sweets.
jars of sweet. Yeah, it's got everything. No, it's so cute. So I've grabbed you in I feel like a very important spot, like sort of between sound check and doing a gig. Thank
Yes.
you for giving me this crucial time.
My pleasure.
How are you feeling?
Well, it's been a bit of a gravelly couple of days vocals-wise, which is interesting because I haven't gigged like this in a long time, and I've forgotten what it's like to have to purposefully take care of one's vocal folds. So I am fine, but I am very conscious that adrenaline is my friend this evening.
Yes. Keep that adrenaline.
Keep the adrenaline.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
Well, I caught a tiny little bit of the sound check, so I'm very much looking forward to it tonight.
Yay!
And tell us a little bit about what is this evening? What's it part of? What project's it part of?
So this evening is a gig that was put together by Charlotte Jacobs, who's also performing, who is from, I believe, the US via Belgium, and
Nice.
and Emily Magpie is also on the bill, and it's nice because it's a triple header of female musicians, which I'm always a big fan to be a part of that kind of a bill. But I'm also here to promote my album Pop Not Pop, which is coming out on November the 9th, and I'm actually dropping a single tomorrow.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna get to hear some of that tonight.
Yes, you are.
Very exciting. And how is that kind of journey been over the last couple of years then, getting to this point of the Pop Not Pop project, and also I guess stepping more into the production sphere life?
Yes, production,
area.
hashtag production life.
Production hat.
I'm sure that's actually a hashtag.
Yeah.
So it's been really fascinating. I pivoted into production in the pandemic because I was trapped in one room for almost 2 years. And what else are you supposed to do during that time? You either become a Twitch magnate or a producer,
Yeah.
you know, and I plumped for producer, and actually that has carried me a long way, because I realised that I actually really loved facilitating music for other people. That was something that I'd never really given myself permission to do before, and it felt right, and actually I felt like I didn't need to be the person who was the centre of attention. That was another nice self-revelatory thing, and
that's interesting, isn't it?
it was fascinating because I always felt like it needed to be me, but actually realistically no, it didn't, and I got just as much satisfaction out of making music with and for other people than I did making it for myself, and that was really wonderful to figure out. So so during the pandemic I started remote writing with people and remote
nice.
producing with people, and then in the summer of 2021 I moved into a studio with two other producers, Charlie Deacon Davis and Jess Bartlett, and we are still a collective producing in a studio today. We are in 1087 Studios in Tottenham.
Nice,
And that's been wonderful. So so I'm now building up my client roster, and I've basically pivoted the Pop Not Pop album because I got the grant to make that album through Help Musicians, and
Great.
I got that grant just as I decided to become a producer for other people. Like, the timing was impeccable.
Yeah,
And I was
great
like, okay, well, I have to now still make this record for myself. Okay, so I did, but what I've done is I've made it into a portfolio piece, really, where I cycle through my my skills as a producer and the different pop adjacent genres that I could or would like to work with. So there's a bit of everything on there, and part of that was on purpose. When I first started making the record before the pandemic, I wanted to explore pop in more variety than how it's currently offered to us.
Okay.
So nothing really went off track. It just ended up in a different location.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It feels like a very pandemic journey.
It
you know?
really was.
But,
It really was.
but great, and we were just chatting before as well. I feel like that's like an excellent calling card for those other skills, and I think it's really like interesting, I guess, for people to realise that that production side of it, or collaborations or songwriting, does still scratch that itch of creativity without it centering on you.
Yeah, a lot of that was definitely something that I had to kind of work through a little bit of frustration as well when I started coming to that conclusion, because I realised that this really is a role that should have been suggested to me long ago. And probably only one person ever mentioned it during my whole career. Why do we think that is? Well, producers, in terms of commercially charting projects, producers who are women and gender minorities only make up 2%. And that is why myself and my friend Katie created our network.
It's still wild when I think about that, and that's just. But yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you about this a little bit. So tell us a little bit more about the network. What's going on there?
So Katie Tavini is a mastering engineer and a badass human.
Always need them around. That's good.
Yes. And we've been friends for a few years now. And also we run it with Suze Cooper, who's a sound designer. And we are a network called 2% Rising, which is a safe online digital space for women and gender minorities who are either leaning into a career in production or engineering, or both. So specifically studio, or they are interested. So, for example, if you're an artist and you're starting to self-produce at home, then it's a space where you can come and ask questions, and you can find out about gear and resources and find other people who are interested in this area, and not have to go to a forum where some awful person is going to slap you down. I'm aware of those forums. Yeah, they're everywhere.
And so if somebody was looking for a producer, could they come to you as well for like recommendations? Does that kind of work in that sense as well?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I mean, I'd probably scope them out for myself first, and just be like, could it be me?
For sure.
But also, realistically, I want to match people with the right person, and that's a big part of what I've ended up doing as kind of side effect.
Yeah.
And that's really fun. It's like matchmaking.
I love that. Yeah, well, because it's such it's like a really, I don't know, like, can become a very personal relationship with like a songwriter and a producer, and you really have to trust each other as well.
Yeah,
because like
you have to be on the same page.
Yeah, you have to, as a songwriter, you have to trust them enough for them to be like, that's absolute shit, don't do that, maybe in a nicer way, but have you thought about this? Or like, and then also for the producer to be like, okay, that seems like a wild idea, but I can trust you to explore it a little bit more. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, really, that part of the facilitation is something that's inevitable, and you have to be around someone who you're comfortable working that through with. I think part of it as well is to do with the fact that the producer sets the tone for the project rather than the artist. Like, you're there to bring the best out of the artist, and we all want the same thing, which is to make the best possible record. So I tend to enter into my my work with artists by saying, right, we're a team. This is us making a record together. There are no silly questions, it's just a case of the best idea wins. That's actually a lesson I learned from comedy writing circles. And I have friends and acquaintances that work in comedy, and so I was like, that really needs to be the attitude when you're making a record together, because making a record together is alchemy. It's a beautiful experience, and it should be, but you need someone in the driver's seat to keep the project moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting because it's the good ideas are always going to find their way, hopefully, to the top. I guess if there's some way to make that journey slightly smoother, then
always
even better, No, it's great. I mean, that sounds like an amazing project, what you're doing, and sort of, I feel like you're just adding to this portfolio.
It really is. It's getting a bit out of hand at this point,
And a few gigs here and there as well.
That's fine. I mean, the gigging part, like tonight, is really it's a part of the process, really, of helping people to understand that there is a record that's being delivered. That's really what gigging is for, is to promote the record. Gold leaves, I can see how people go crazy places like these. I want to be kind, but I'm in too much pain. I want to believe that people can change. Oh, I
into the night. Always, I got this feeling I'm just a 50%, just another fool's errand. I want to be kind, but I'm in too much pain. I want to believe that people can change. Oh, I can see for miles, but nothing feels right in Versailles. And I'm running for my life, but nothing feels right in Versailles. In Versailles. Still unknown style, still playing on my I want to be kind, but I'm in too much pain. I want to believe that people can change. Oh, I can see for miles, but nothing feels right in Versailles. And I'm running for my life, but nothing feels right in Versailles. In
And it's fascinating for me tonight because I'm focusing on just a vocal performance, and that's going to be a first in many years. Most of the time I'm used to having an instrument in my hands to hide behind.
It's entirely me as well.
Yeah, and it's
I think that's why I've not gigged in such a long time.
so it's going to be interesting because I'm giving myself permission to move around on the stage and to harass the audience and things like that.
Okay.
So it probably is going to have a little bit more of a cabaret feel, but I don't think that's actually a bad thing, especially because a lot of what I think about is the queer experience. And I don't doubt that a huge portion of people who come tonight are going to be straight people. Some people will definitely be queer people because a lot of my people are coming, but it is going to be really interesting to be like, right, we're creating this whole new space in this place that you're familiar with, but this is a different kind of I don't want to say influence, it sounds terrible, but you know what I mean. Like this is a different flavour of performance to something that you're used to experiencing in this space.
Yeah, no, and I have no doubt you'll manage to achieve it.
Well, as I said to the sound engineer, like I realised, but partly also this is a gig of necessity because of you know, a lot of people are going through it in terms of housing in the UK right now, and I've been also subject to some problems around that, and that's taken away a lot of time and a lot of resources and a lot of energy, and that meant that I wasn't necessarily able to plan for this gig as I originally intended to in terms of the arrangement that I was delivering. But I am a funny fucker, and I'm entertaining, and so people are gonna get great songs and little stories, and that's what people are gonna get from me.
That's it. I mean, that's what we want.
That's the best anyone could hope
for.
That's
what we need. Well, I love it, and thank you so much for giving me some time to chat to you as well. A couple more questions before I let you go.
Sure.
And before we get out of this light.
We're actually doing really well for time.
Yeah, we're doing all right.
I'm very impressed. This light is a lot.
It's funny, yeah. If you do end up watching this as a video, for some extra, hi, I'm sort of slightly going red and turning into a curtain. and you just seem like absolutely like bleached out white there. So.
I'm very pale. I can't stop being pale.
So you know, it's a
sadly.
nice combo.
I know. I should have worn
I'm
my
also
cap.
dressed slightly like the curtain as well. which
Oh,
is
you
funny,
are,
so-
yeah. Very, very. I mean, coordinated.
Listen, I've been huffing my stuff all across London, teaching lots of kids today with my guitar.
Bless
and,
you.
you know, it's got to be done, right?
Right.
Got to be done.
Gotta be done.
Speaking of little kids, my actually question was, I know, strange segue.
Strange turn.
Think about mini Rookes,
Yes.
and how do you think mini Rookes would be feeling coming to watch or
Ooh.
seeing what you're up to right now?
I think baby Rookes would probably be
It's
quite.
not a therapy session.
No.
I've borrowed it from my therapist, but you know, it's okay.
We're going to start talking about my
Yeah.
inner child, aren't we? Yeah, so probably baby Rookes would be a little bit astonished and a little bit relieved, I think, because, I mean, being a very particular intersection of stuff,
Yeah.
because I'm a neurospicy queer, but neurospicy, and I wasn't out until my late 20s, and I wasn't diagnosed as neurospicy, or at least become aware of neurospicy until last year.
Okay.
And so
That's a
very
yeah.
recent revelations, and in the scheme of things. And so I think it would make little Rookes a little bit relieved that I had found a place where I was happy, because when I was growing up, that wasn't something I had. And I also had a very, you know, kudos to my delightful parents. We have a wonderful relationship now, but we all kind of have done our internal work and accept that my growing up was quite difficult, and also I was queer and I didn't understand what that meant. I was
Yeah.
undiagnosed and I didn't understand what that meant. So I think she'd probably be a little bit awed and be like, oh,
I reckon so.
it does end up okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, super cool.
Yeah.
Ready for this gig tonight.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I'm never ready for anything. I'm just constantly winging it.
Okay, and on the flip side of that question,
Yes.
Later life Rookes.
Yes.
Don't know what it's called.
Geriatric
Rookes.
Rookes.
What thing would they be like, right, just stop that shit, get rid of it, you don't need it right now?
I think probably my excess anxiety over
Okay.
different things. I mean, one of the things that has, one of the things that has always been a struggle for me as a neurospicy person is managing my anxiety, and that manifested for many years as quite excessive stage fright. That wasn't in any way proportionate to my lack of ability, if that makes sense. So I was a very able, very skilled performer. I've been performing for 25 years, and I since I was baby Rookes, and yet still having to manage stage fright before every single performance, no matter how big or small. And I think, interestingly, because I don't feel like my career rests on a live performance anymore, unlike you know, that has
quite a big
shifted.
change,
That
quite a
has
big shift.
shifted something. But also, I think like geriatric Rookes would just be like, just put it in the bin. You don't need it. Like, it's not serving you, and no one cares. Like, just have a nice time. And I think, interestingly, that's probably something that I would end up saying to younger people anyway. It's
Yeah.
like, have a nice time.